Proving once again that these weirdo resistance leftists don't learn from their past mistakes, Kathy Griffin once again has crossed the line into potentially, I'm saying potentially, I'm being very, very careful here, almost threatening the life of the president. And I got to be very careful because of the language used. I'll tell you what, some of these things that she says absolutely cross a line, especially on YouTube, and some of them are potentially downright illegal. Kathy Griffin in the past did a photo shoot where she was holding Donald Trump's head and there was blood and it was really, really bad. She basically lost her career over this. She was having like the panic attacks and she was doing interviews. She was like, everything was ruined. And then she even accused Trump of personally instructing the Secret Service to investigate her. No, everybody who makes a threat against the president is going to get a knock on their door. Don't do it. But they live in a paranoid, delusional state where they justify this insanity. So I don't want to bury the lead. Kathy Griffin tweeted something to the effect of taking a syringe with nothing but air to, quote, do the trick. You know what that means. You know what the intent there is. And she's saying it straight up. Now, it could be that this doesn't cross the line. Don't ask me. I'm not the Secret Service. And I've got a story from a few years ago about the seriousness of how people keep doing this online. And they do it a lot. But Kathy Griffin seems to just not be able to learn. They think, people like her think she's justified in saying this because of their perceived insane reality. Case in point, there was this I believe it was MSNBC, where this woman said that Trump was talking about exterminating a particular group of people. I'm, again, being very careful. They make this up. Trump never talked about exterminating anybody, but they literally make it up. What do you think happens then when someone like Kathy Griffin hears this and she's sitting in the corner of the room, shaking and twitching, like confused, believing in this fictitious reality? They watch nothing but fake news. They read nothing but fake news. And then they believe this such insane, terrifying, paranoid reality that they say things like this. She actually responded to this story. I kid you not. All right, let's read what happened. The Washington Examiner says, Kathy Griffin advocated plunging an air-filled syringe into President Trump, reacting to a tweet from CNN White House correspondent Jim Acosta, which said Trump pondered whether or not he should be given an insulin regimen at a White House diabetes event on Tuesday. The comedian said, syringe with nothing but air inside would do the trick. F Trump. Now, first of all, I think Trump is very obviously joking. He jokes all the time. And I can imagine, based on seeing him speak, he was talking and then off the cup was like, yeah, you got a lot of people with insulin. I wonder if I would need that, huh? Yeah, anyway. And he says something, I don't use insulin. Should I be? You know. He's making a joke. He clearly isn't diabetic. Maybe he's making a self-deprecating joke at the fact that he eats a lot of fast food and he's overweight. Because the president, he takes the jokes away from them. He makes them about himself. He does. In medical procedures, air accidentally injected into the body's bloodstream through syringes or IVs can cause air embolisms, which can be fatal. Within moments, Twitter users were remarking how Griffin can expect another visit from the Secret Service. Griffin stirred controversy in 2017 when she held up a bloody prop of Trump's severed head in a photo shoot, a move which disrupted her career and prompted a visit from the Secret Service, according to her lawyers. Quote, I don't think I will have a career after this, Griffin told reporters in tears after the photo became public. I'm going to be honest, he broke me. What? He didn't break you. The media and your delusional friends and the weird paranoid state you live in broke you. Something else broke you and put you in this broken world. Trump derangement syndrome didn't come from Trump. Sure, Trump can say nasty things. Sure, he can be a mean guy. But how many of these people have been pressed into this by the media? I'm going to tell you something. A story has just come out from the Wall Street Journal. Facebook knows they're dividing people and their algorithm creates a hyper-partisan divide. And they swept it under the rug. So you know what? I'm going to give some sympathy a bit to Kathy Griffin. She lives in a psychotic realm of insane nonsense because she's probably being fed trash from like Occupy Democrats on Facebook. I mean, she's in the Facebook demographic, right? Facebook knows they're doing this. What do you think happens when someone sits on their Facebook page and they only ever see insane orange man bad content? They go nuts. That's it. And that's extremism, okay? All right, let's read a little bit more. In response to the Examiner tweet for this report, which noted that stabbing someone with a syringe full of air could be fatal, Griffin said she sure did advocate for the president to be... Okay, I got to be careful here, but look at this. She doubles down. The Washington Examiner tweeted, Kathy Griffin advocates for someone to... I'm not going to say it. take a syringe full of air, right? You know where it's going. Air embolisms caused by air getting into the bloodstream can be fatal. And she responded, I sure did effer. Wow. She's straight up saying she's advocating for it. Now I think she will get a visit from the Secret Service. Because look, the initial tweet could have been seen as hyperbolic, a joke, or not directing anybody. But now she's basically confirmed she's straight up advocating for it. Griffin ended her quote tweet with Trump lied, people died, a common social media hashtag used by the president's critics, blaming him for COVID. The Washington Examiner reached out to the Secret Service about Griffin's tweets. The Washington Examiner also asked Twitter if she breached the platform's violent threats policy. A representative said the company will look into the tweets. I'm not a big fan of the tattle game with journalism. I can understand why in this regard they may reach out to the Secret Service. However, I'm curious as to the way in which they reach out. I think the appropriate thing to do if you're a journalist is to reach out to the Secret Service and say, not the person's name, but would this phrase be considered, illegal or a violation? Journalists like to play this game, and I'm not trying to drag the Examiner here because I don't know what they said, where, like, I've called out journalists for this in the past. They will contact some organization and use it as a way to tattle. They'll email you saying your employee did an awful thing. Do you condone this behavior? I'm just a journalist asking for comments. No, obviously you're calling out the individual to get them hurt. So I'm not saying the Examiner does that, but I'm quick to point it out if I think I see it. Kathy Griffin was had the Secret Service come to her before because she's totally lost her mind. To be like she's gone. Look, man, this is sad. It really is sad. The media is essentially unaccountable. That's why so many people like Donald Trump and like when he calls out the press. If you're someone like Kathy Griffin, you're doing these red carpet things, you live in this celebrity liberal bubble, you're not getting real news. And so when all this news comes out, you feel like you're saying something popular and you are not. What's happening with her is exactly what's happening with Democratic politicians. They're not crossing this line, but they're saying things close enough to insanity because they're not getting real news. And Kathy Griffin, she actually blamed Trump personally. Like, just stop, okay? It's not personal. Citing a vendetta against her. In the wake of a controversial photo last year, comedian Kathy Griffin accused President Trump of personally ordering federal agents to make her life miserable. No, please don't. You know how he works. They've gone insane. Trump didn't think twice about you. Maybe he tweeted about you. Okay, maybe someone in his family did, but I really don't think he's dedicating a lot of time to you. I just don't. I don't think you matter that much. But they think they do. And so think about the level of ego and conspiratorial thinking that exists in the mind of Kathy Griffin. Not only does she think that these horrible things about the president that just are not based in reality, she thinks the president's out to get her. What did we used to do to people who would mutter and ramble saying violent things and then go, the president's coming for me. The president did it to me on purpose. It's like, okay, calm down. The president isn't coming for you. Please stop. You're losing your mind. Well, these people would be institutionalized. Kathy Griffin, on the other hand, gets cleared, continues doing her thing, and then does it again. She's clearly unwell, man. Take a look at this from ABC News. Recently, a man got 18 months in prison for threatening the life of Donald Trump. I really want to be careful. A 36-year-old Texas man has been sentenced to 18 months in federal prison for threatening the president's life. Now, what this guy said was substantially more direct and overt. And I'm curious if Kathy Griffin has crossed the line in this regard. The photograph of her holding Trump's head. Okay, you can argue it's art, it's sensationalist, it's hyperbolic, but it wasn't a direct call to action. Different people would interpret it different ways. What she's saying now is that she's straight up saying she did advocate for someone to cause harm to the president. This guy straight up said that he was waiting for the president and he was going to make an attempt on his life. That alone was enough to give the guy a year and a half in prison. What Kathy Griffin did went beyond what this guy said, in my opinion, straight up advocating for direct action to be taken against the president. So maybe it doesn't. This guy said he was going to do it. She's advocating for others. I don't know how this plays out. They say this in the story. According to plea documents, Gedlu admitted he threatened Trump's life on social media. During court proceedings, prosecutors said that on May 31st, 2018, Gedlu was observed across the street from Dallas Adolphus Hotel just 30 minutes before Trump arrived there for a fundraiser. Dallas police officers noticed Gedlu holding a sign threatening his life and detained him as he screamed things. Okay, so I'll tell you what. that's a bit beyond just social media. My initial understanding was that he was just on social media. Well, if you show up to the president's hotel, that is a bit different from what Kathy Griffin did. But take a look at this story from 2017. It's from Mashable. Over 12,000 tweets are calling for Trump's, are threatening the life of the president. Here's how the Secret Service handles it. This article could perhaps give us some insight into what may come now for Kathy Griffin. They say in the 12 days since Donald Trump took the oath of office, granted this is February of 2017, mind you, a steady stream of social media posts have called for violence against the man. They threatened his life. The posts are pretty basic and many are jokes or sarcastic or hyperbolic, but there are a lot of them. In a data miner search of Twitter posts since Inauguration Day containing the phrase, I'm not going to read that phrase, more than 12,000 tweets came up. The U.S. Secret Service, however, or even Twitter and Facebook themselves, doesn't seem to be jumping onto many of these posts. When we asked several users about their recent posts, all of the threatening posts, all of them said they hadn't been contacted by anyone about their posts, and they all remain up. But there have been some reports of agents knocking on the doors of social media users. A Kentucky woman who tweeted, if someone was cruel enough to go after Martin Luther King, I'm paraphrasing here. Maybe someone will be kind enough to, and then she calls out Trump. I'm not going to read these things. I'm sorry, I'm just not going to read it, but you get the point. She was currently being investigated by the Secret Service, according to the AP. Now, keep in mind, Kathy Griffin was investigated for 2 months. An Ohio man tweeted several messages about threatening Trump on election night. According to NBC News, the Secret Service questioned him the next day, and he was charged with making threats to then President-elect. Listen, man, there is something wrong with you if you're going to come out and say these things. I blame the media. I really do. And I don't know what the solution is. But I want to show you this story from Facebook, which gives us some insight. And I think I'm going to go over this in a longer video in the next segment, which comes up at 4 p.m. If you're not familiar, go to timcast.net is another channel. But check this out. Facebook executives shut down efforts to make the site less divisive. The social media giant internally studied how it polarizes users, then largely shelved the research. That's amazing. I'm going to tell you exactly what happens. On Facebook, people are more likely to see content they engage with. It's similar to how they've described the YouTube rabbit hole. But with Facebook, the problem is several orders of magnitude worse than what YouTube is. So they've talked about on YouTube, there's a rabbit hole, like you'll click my video and then you'll just go down a rabbit hole of a bunch of videos. It doesn't work that way. For one, on YouTube, you have to actively choose what you're going to watch, which video you're going to watch or listen to. Whereas on Facebook, they put things in front of you. Other people choose what you will watch. YouTube does have a small algorithmic impact on people's viewing consumption, for sure, but it can go any direction. If someone's talking about immigration, it could be positive or negative. Now, certainly, if you only look at negative videos, you might be more likely to get fed negative videos. But I've received numerous messages from people saying that my content de-radicalized them because I approach issues they're concerned about, but present a more nuanced opinion. So the issue isn't so much on YouTube that if you click a video, you'll be pushed on a rabbit hole. The issue is that the left on YouTube doesn't talk about the same things as the right on YouTube. So what happens is, if you're concerned about issues like immigration, you're not going to get left-wing content about immigration. You're going to get right-wing content for the most part. Now with Facebook, something's different because the content is fed to you in a very short thread. You're only going to get a small handful of posts on Facebook. So if you go on Facebook one day, you will see like 2 posts. One of those posts will be like, Donald Trump is evil, the orange man is bad. You might be curious and you might click it. And then now Facebook has learned this is how you react. This is what you react to. And so now you're more likely to see these. More importantly, however, you're more likely to directly share it, sending it to your immediate friends and family. YouTube does not do this. Facebook does. If you subscribe to my channel, you can share my content. It's greatly appreciated if you do. It helps. So consider that. However, YouTube isn't sending you content based on what another subscriber that you know thinks because you don't friend other subscribers. So it is possible if you choose to follow 10 channels, Tim Pool, Kyle Kalinske, Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, and Dave Rubin. And so it skews a little bit towards, anti-left or slightly to the right in some regards. You might get fed more similar videos to that, but you made the choices of who you wanted to follow based on who you liked to listen to. On Facebook, Your Gammy, your friend from high school, might share an article because they have TDS. Then you see it, fake news, Occupy Democrats, whatever, and you go, whoa, is that true? And you click it, boom, now you have TDS. Then you share it. YouTube doesn't work that way, and Facebook knows. So why is it that Kathy Griffin is shrieking and spinning in circles? Because TDS is contagious, and it's through Facebook, and we know it, and I've said this over and over again. Twitter operates in a different way. Twitter gives you a point system, rewards for your polarizing shock content. YouTube does not. YouTube incentivizes creators to go down certain paths for the most part, but a broader market share on YouTube is centrism, sort of. What you need to understand is that if you want to make money on YouTube, you need to go vlog and skateboard and hang out on the beach, not do politics, because that dramatically reduces your ability to get views. So all these people are like, the YouTube grifters are lying and trying to make money. No. Full stop, buddy. Not true. Certainly there are some that have fake opinions for money, but the fastest path to YouTube success is like prank videos. I mean, not so much anymore. They've gone after them. But do a vlog about your dog or whatever. You want to make money on YouTube? You sing nursery rhymes. I'm not kidding. They get hundreds of millions of views. The people on YouTube who do politics take a hit on their maximum market share by doing so. But on Facebook, things are different because individuals share within their own base. So therefore, triggering and shocking them is what generates traffic. Now you may be saying, but Tim, what if someone shares the YouTube video on Facebook? YouTube deranks these. To the best of my knowledge, this is true. They may not, but I'm pretty sure. When Facebook was trying to prop up their video platform, they would make sure YouTube links got less preferential posting, visibility than their own native videos because they didn't want people to leave the platform. YouTube absolutely is a direct radicalization engine, and even they know it, according to this story. So I do kind of feel bad. Now, ultimately, the responsibility falls on you. If Kathy Griffin wants to post this psychotic, insane psychobabble, she's made a choice. Maybe she should have made a choice to read other news because guess what? Just because you're dumb, it's not an excuse. You have a responsibility to know what you're talking about. But all of these people like her, they're trapped in this cyclone of fake news. And the smartest thing the fake news could have done is claim they were the real news. And this is what's happening. Donald Trump being fact-checked on Twitter. Did you see this story? He tweeted an opinion about mail-in ballots. And Twitter issues a fact check where they link to the opinions of Washington Post and CNN. That doesn't make sense. It's not a fact check. That's an opinion war. You're polarizing people. Why? Don't ask me, man. But they're absolutely making things worse. These journalists claim to be real news. They're not. I mean, the cable TV stuff. There's some great journalists out there, man. They work for local papers. But these New York Times people, they're not so bad, but they could be kind of bad. You have the Washington Post. They're pretty bad. CNN is just awful. It really is just awful. So what happens when you have someone like, you have Jim Acosta, you have Brian Stelter, Oliver Darcy. These are principal reporters and personalities at CNN. Oliver and Brian are the media reporters, and their whole shtick is not to report the news, but give a play-by-play on Fox News. Why? How is that relevant to me? When I see these media reporters and all they do is talk about Fox and Trump, I'm like, you're not talking about the media. Like, what about this story? I'm sure they'll talk about this, to varying degrees. I'm not going to, pretend like they wouldn't. They probably will. But then they default to like 80% content that just rags on Fox News. I kid you not. I don't need TV Guide for Fox News. Now, when CNN appears on Facebook and they say Facebook is good to go, it's factual news. Yes, but they're driving you down a rabbit hole and they blame me on YouTube. Not true. It's Facebook. It's Facebook and Twitter. Facebook is how you spread the contagion. You get a TDS article, you press share because people are infected like a zombie bite. It appears in your feed and now you see this and you're more likely to be dragged into Trump derangement syndrome. Trump has got his problems, man, but he's not that bad that you need to make these threats against him. Dude, chill. Seriously. On Twitter, people like dragging the opposing faction. Everybody does. And so when you make tweets calling out your rival in the culture war, you get a bunch of traffic. What we end up seeing then is the Trump reply guy phenomenon. People who've realized you'll get a ton of followers, low quality, stupid followers, by waiting for Trump to tweet and instantly replying as fast as you can. You will get a ton of followers. And they tweet things to Trump like, you're dumb, and I can't believe how dumb you are. Like, you're so stupid, you didn't even know this or that. And it's like, none of these things are arguments, but it works. They get followers from it. That's Twitter's problem. YouTube is the least problematic. In fact, YouTube allows you an opportunity to see alternative, contradictory information. So when the mainstream media puts out their garbled lies, you can go somewhere else and see a different opinion. You can see me, for instance. I used to work for these companies. I left because of what's going on there. So this turned into a media rant because I'm just thinking about why it is that Kathy Griffin has gone insane. What made her insane? And that's it. And it's not just her, it's so many other people, but some people are more susceptible. I'll leave it there. But at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast, we're going to do a deep dive into Twitter censorship, their interference in the election, Donald Trump calling them out, and how the left is reacting. So it's similar. There'll be an overlap here. Check it out. It's my main channel over at timcast.net. You click that, it'll redirect you. Subscribe if you haven't, and stick around. It'll be at 4. For those of you listening on the podcast, you've already heard this segment, so stick around because there's more to come. I will see you all in the next segment.